All right, so I want to share with you guys what my current peptide stack is, why I'm taking everything that I'm taking, how much I'm taking it, and when I'm taking it. Now, before we get into this, this is not medical advice. Understand this is me. This is not me telling you what you should take. This is simply me saying what works for me based on my goals, my lifestyle, and what I've learned over the last couple of years after trying a bunch of different compounds and helping people achieve their goals. Now, to give you a little bit of context, I've been training pretty much my entire life. I was in the Marines. I did bodybuilding for a year and a half. I'm still dealing with injuries with a lot of wear and tear. You know, when I was in the Marines, when I was doing rucking and things of that sort. Now, these days, my goals have completely changed. I've already spent years building muscle. I'm not trying to get as big as possible anymore. My goal now is to hold on to the muscle I've built over the years while getting leaner, becoming a better athlete, and performing at a higher level. Now, I run multiple times a week. I train jiu-jitsu. I still lift. I work a lot. And most of my mornings start with training, and then I'm straight into filming content, client calls, appointments, meetings, editing videos. Like, I work until like midnight. So my stack isn't just built around performance or recovery. It's built around helping me perform physically and mentally every single day. Now, 3 times a week, I take 250 milligrams of glutathione. Most people know glutathione for skin, and that's definitely one of the reasons why I use it. But I also like it because hard training creates a lot of oxidative stress. I like rotating it in every few months for about 3 or 4 weeks as part of like my recovery routine. All right. Every day I take 12.5 milligrams of enclomiphene. It is a pill, but it is not a peptide. It's a serum that helps stimulate your body's natural testosterone production. So between lifting, running, jujitsu, recovery matters, and having healthy testosterone levels make a difference when it comes to maintaining muscle, recovering well, and performing at a high level consistently. Now, every night before I go to bed, I take 1 milligram of KPV with 2 milligrams of CJC-ipamorelin. KPV has honestly become one of my favorites because inflammation is just a part of training the way that I train. Between jujitsu, running, something is always sore. And then with pairing it with CJC-ipamorelin, it's probably made the biggest difference in how I recover. Now, I don't use it because I'm trying to, get super massive. I use it because I want to wake up and feel recovered and move the way I should. Now, since I train first thing in the morning, I've noticed that I wake up with a lot more energy instead of feeling like I got hit by a tractor or something. And because I'm doing a lot more cardio than I used to, I also want to hold on to the muscle that I've spent years building. Recovery is what allows me to keep training hard without feeling broken down all the time. Now, every other day I use the Glow Stack with AHKCU. I do 2 milligrams of the Glow, 2 milligrams of AHKCU. The Glow Stack is mainly for healthier skin, while AHKCU is to support healthier hair and a healthier scalp. But honestly, my favorite part of the Glow Stack is going to be the BPC 157 and the TB 500. So if you train jiu-jitsu, you know that you're always dealing with some nagging injury. All right. Right now, for me, it's my hamstring, and it's because I was going back to training before fully healing. But yeah, those two have been a game changer for me. Now, once a week, I take Retta. This is going to surprise a lot of people, but a lot of people assume that I'm using it to stay lean. All right. But honestly, that's not why I keep it in my stack. So I've been using Retta for about 18 months straight. All right. And I found that 1 milligram is a sweet spot for me. I really love the systematic benefits, the metabolic benefits. I like how it helps keep my appetite under control without feeling like I have to force feed myself. And I get my blood checked every 2 to 3 months, and blood work looks insane. Never has been better. Now, the reason why I don't take higher doses is because personally, I noticed that my performance starts to suffer. Some people are gonna, want to jump down my throat and argue, but I've noticed it. I train every single day. I lift. So I noticed the small changes, and at higher doses, I just don't feel as strong as I usually do. My endurance takes a hit, and that might not matter to someone whose only goal is to lose a bunch of weight. But me, I'm more on the performance side. So I'd rather hold on to my strength and my athleticism than, being a couple percent leaner. Now, 3 to 4 days a week, I take 2.5 milligrams of MOTC with 75 milligrams of NAD plus in the same syringe. And I know some of you are like, can you do that? But I mix them together because I found that it cuts down on the sting from the NAD plus, but I still get incredible energy from using both of them together. Now, since I've shifted more toward endurance training, MOTS-c has become one of my favorite peptides. It supports mitochondrial function, which is basically your body's ability to produce energy. And I noticed that translates well into longer runs and, multiple rounds of jiu-jitsu, especially the hard sessions. So NAD plus complements that really, really well because it supports cellular energy production. And together, I just feel like I have a lot more gas in the tank with it than without it. Now, in about 2 weeks, I'll be replacing MOTS-c with 1 milligram of iCarb. Not because MOTS-c stopped working, but because my training's evolved, all right? I'm running more than ever. My conditioning has become a huge priority. And I'm curious to see if iCarb, fits this phase of training better than MOTS-c. I'm sure it will. I tested a little bit, but now we're going to do a full cycle of it. Now, on mornings that I do fasted cardio or jiu-jitsu, I inject 5 milligrams of 5-amino-1-MQ and Sloop 332. For me, this isn't about, really chasing a number on the scale. It's really about improving body composition. I want to stay lean while holding onto the muscle that I built over the years. And that's just a different goal than simply trying to lose weight. Once training is over and the physical work is done, my mental is just getting started. Now it's time to work. So that's where I use Adamax and Salam. You can inject these as well, but I like to use them as a nasal spray. Now, C-Max is cool, but personally for me, I found the Adamax is way stronger for me. Now, I've tried C-Max, but personally, I prefer Adamax. For me, C-Max gives me a nice little boost, but Adamax lasts a lot longer for me. Like, I don't need to be focused for an hour. I need to be locked in all day. So whether I'm filming content, I'm editing videos, I have meetings, I'm editing content, like I need sustained mental performance. And Adamax helps me stay sharp without feeling overstimulated, and I don't get to crash later in the day. And that's pretty much why I pair it with Salam. Salam kind of helps with keeping you calm, but allowing you to still stay focused. Now, instead of my mind bouncing from 10 different things, I can stay locked in on one task, I finish it, and I can move on to the next. And when you're working 10, 12, 14 hours a day, like you need that, especially if you have, bad cases of ADHD like I do. Now, I'll also use low dose of shrooms with psilocybin, mainly because it makes me feel way more creative. Whether I'm coming up with content ideas, solving problems in the business, planning some type of projects. I notice that I think a little differently whenever it is a part of my stack. Now, of course, black coffee, that's probably going to be one of the things that will never ever leave my stack. Now, right now I am experimenting with FOXO4. This is going to be tomorrow will be my 3rd week using it. So it's pretty much designed to target like the zombie cells, like dead cells, older cells that don't function the way that they should anymore. Now, research is still evolving. Okay. So I'm not here making some crazy claims. I'm simply interested in the longevity side of things. And, I like to try different compounds myself before I speak on them. Now, lastly, I'm finishing up with a cycle of Epithalon at 3 milligrams. I mainly use it because sleep is probably the most underrated recovery tool there is. If I'm sleeping better, I recover better. And if I recover better, I perform better and I show up better in every area of my life. So the longevity aspect is a bonus. And that's really what I'm focused in. That's really what I'm focused on, the older I get. So at the end of the day, none of this is random. Everything that I'm taking is supporting the life that I live and the life that I want for myself. I want to recover so I can train better tomorrow. I want to hold on to the muscle that I've spent years building. So if you're just running Retta, you're not doing enough. You're doing yourself a disjustice. I don't know if that's the right word, but I want to become a better runner. I want to become a better jiu-jitsu athlete. I want to stay mentally sharp enough to build businesses and create content and do everything that I do, financially. That's why my stack looks the way that it does. Now, again, this is not medical advice. This is simply what's worked for me based on my goals, my training, and my experience. Now, I hope you guys found some value in this. If you have any questions on anything whatsoever, you want me to do a deep dive on anything at all, hit the comments or message me at Rockzilla or Rocky.era on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Subscribe, like. I'll see you guys on the next one.